This is actually our fourth generation in on the Framework Laptop 13. So every time we do a new product refresh now, 4 times in, we really think about what do we want to do with this thing? We're getting closer and closer to perfection each time. And so one thing we do is actually just read literally every review. We go into the community and see what people are talking about. We go through our customer feedback and we figure out what do people want out of this. And so we've done a few things. We've really picked a few key areas of focus. One was making this the perfect laptop for Linux users. 2, making this the perfect laptop for small businesses and professionals. And then 3, continuing to make it a more accessible and easier to use computer, really for everyone, going past just the earliest adopters into more general consumer audiences. And we've made a number of changes in the product to achieve that. One is that we've gone to the latest generation Intel Core Ultra Series 1 processors. That's not our naming choice. That was Intel's naming choice, so you can take it up with them. But it actually is a really killer processor. Intel's done a bunch of great stuff this generation. They've gone and improved a bunch of the processor efficiency, especially around specific use cases like video. The video playback battery life is actually pretty excellent. Another thing that they've done is actually redone the graphics architecture. The graphics performance is like a massive leap over previous generations. So I actually took, instead of a Framework Laptop 16, a Framework Laptop 13 with this mainboard on a recent trip to Taiwan, and I was playing Baldur's Gate 3 in flight, and actually the performance was pretty excellent. One other thing that we've done, of course, is gone from DDR4 to DDR5, so you can actually put in up to 96 gigs of DDR5 5600 with these 2 SODIMM slots. And just like the previous generation, Intel has this kind of big core, little core architecture. So you can get up to 6 performance cores along with 8 efficiency cores across the different configurations. So pretty awesome performance, great generational leap from Intel. One other thing we've done, of course, going back to making this the perfect product for Linux users, is resolving what was probably the last major sticking point for Linux usage, which was actually our display resolution. We have a pretty great display actually in the Framework Laptop 13 already. The resolution's good, the color space is good with 100% sRGB, great contrast, great brightness, but on basically every parameter, we've made that display even better. And so the one thing, of course, that makes it perfect for Linux is that instead of a resolution that forces you into fractional scaling, we've gone up to 2880 by 1920 resolution, which has 2 really great advantages. One is that the pixels are basically invisible. From a normal viewing distance, you actually can't see the pixels at all, and so text looks super sharp. But the thing that makes it really great for Linux especially is that that resolution makes it perfect for 2:1 scaling. So instead of needing to use fractional scaling, you can use 200% scaling, and everything actually just looks perfect from a size perspective in the UI. Of course, we've also improved a few other things. One is that it's a 120 hertz display with variable refresh rate support instead of 60 hertz. And so, of course, it makes it good for gaming, but it also just generally makes it great for productivity. You can scroll super smoothly, you can move your cursor around, and you can actually really see the smoothness that comes from that higher refresh rate. We've also actually increased the brightness. So this goes up to 500 nit now, which means that it is pretty awesome for use in outdoor environments, in bright sunlight, without needing to think about where you're placing your laptop. And of course, we've kept that 1500:1 contrast, we've kept that 100% sRGB color space. So really a pretty amazing display. And it's compatible, of course, not just with our latest generation of Framework Laptop 13, but because we always design our products to be totally interoperable across the entire set of Framework laptops we've ever shipped, you can actually get this 2.8K display and drop it into any Framework Laptop 13 that we've shipped. And so this is also available for pre-order today and start shipping in August alongside the laptops. The display is an option on our Framework Laptop 13 DIY edition, so you can choose between either the original display or the new display. They both, of course, are 3:2 aspect ratio. They both have this matte anti-glare surface. And then, of course, you can also pick up that display in the marketplace to put into any existing Framework Laptop 13. And then in terms of the configurations overall, of course, in addition to those brand new Intel Core Ultra Series 1 powered Framework Laptop 13s, we also have our current AMD Ryzen 7040 series Framework Laptop 13s. We now have new configurations of the DIY edition there as well, where you can pick up optionally that 2.8K panel, as well as the new webcam built into it. There is one thing that's a little bit weird on this display. If you take a close look, you can see that actually the corners are rounded, physically rounded, not digitally rounded. That's not something that we did on purpose. When we looked at doing a higher resolution display, we went deep into the supply base and looked at every possible option to deliver on that improved display. And we found that there was a display that was actually pretty close to what we needed, but had these physically rounded corners. And so our choices were basically to either take that or spend an insane sum of money to build a completely custom panel that didn't have those rounded corners. And so thank you to whichever laptop maker paid for 90% of the development of this display with rounded corners. We really appreciate it because we didn't have to pay that. And so what we did is took that panel and customized it a bit to make sure that it fit our Framework laptop form factor, and we also actually increased the brightness over what that original version was. But as a result, we've been able to deliver this display in a pretty short period of time with all that great functionality, but you just have to accept that slight rounding in the corners. You get used to it over time though. One other thing we've done that's pretty awesome is we've gone and built a new webcam into the same form factor as our previous webcam. And similar to what we did with the display, we actually thought through, okay, what are people using their webcams for? What do we need this thing to be able to do? And what we did is actually designed it specifically around the video conferencing use case. And so we put in a 9.2 megapixel sensor, brand new sensor that Omnivision just launched. But we're not using it at 9.2 megapixel. It just doesn't make any sense at all to do that because no video conferencing software could ever actually take advantage of that. And so what we've done is actually used a pixel mode that this image sensor has that's pretty similar to what's in the premium image sensors in most smartphones these days, where we actually take 4 subpixels and group them together into one giant high sensitivity pixel, which means that when using this new webcam at 1080p, which is typically what you'd use a webcam for in video conferencing, or even 720p, you actually get really, really great light sensitivity. And so in fairly dark environments, it's actually incredibly smooth and low noise in a way that is pretty rare to see in a laptop webcam. So this is something that's not just a pretty big leap over our original webcam, but it's actually pretty substantially better than almost any other webcam we've seen in a notebook. We've also actually improved the microphone. So we went from 65 dB SNR mics to 67 dB, so a little bit of a bump there, and just means that we've got that slight bit better of audio clarity. So good improvements all around. We've done a couple of other things with this generation, again, really responding to the feedback that we've seen out there in the wild from reviews and from existing customers. We've revamped our thermal architecture on the main board. And so 2 things we've done here. One is switch to a single giant heat pipe instead of a dual heat pipe architecture. So a little bit better performance there, specifically as it maps to that new Intel Core Ultra series processor, the shape of the die there. And then one other thing we've done is that there's actually a little vent here on the side of the fan where the fan is blowing out air, not just through the heat sink that the heat pipe is on, but blowing air out over the voltage control circuitry, the voltage regulation circuitry on the main board, which helps keep the overall system temperature a bit cooler and the touch temperature a bit cooler, while also reducing the fan noise. And we've done that along with revamping our fan curves in firmware. And so the overall thermal experience and fan noise experience is actually quite a bit better than any of the Intel laptops that we've shipped to date. And we really do hope to hear what you think of that soon. One other thing that we've done on this product overall that's pretty exciting is we are launching a set of new expansion cards. One, of course, is the SD expansion card that we've been sharing a bit about on our channel over the last few months. And so now this is available for pre-order with the new Framework Laptop 13, and it'll ship starting this August alongside those new laptops. The other thing that we've done is we've built a series of colored expansion cards that actually match the colors of our bezels. And so you can get your bezel and your expansion cards all to match, which is pretty fun. And you can just click them in like you can any expansion card. And Those are also available for pre-order today with the Framework Laptop 13s. We're also going to ship them in August as well. And then, of course, just like everything we do, all these parts are going to be available in the Framework Marketplace. So the laptops, the mainboard, and the display are all available for pre-order today. We're going to start shipping the first batch in August. The new webcam, the new SD expansion card, the new color expansion cards, those are all also going to be available today for pre-order, and we're going to start shipping them in August. And then those new business configurations, which I don't think I talked about at all yet. So one thing we've done, like I mentioned from the start, one of the focuses was on making this product really perfect for businesses and for professionals. We actually do have hundreds of companies using Framework laptops today as their primary computers. We're actually kind of shocked by how quickly we got that much interest and excitement and traction from small and mid-sized businesses especially. And so we've really decided to invest this go around in making a really ideal set of configurations for those customers specifically. And so what we've done this time around is introduced a series of business and professional focused configurations that come with Windows 11 Pro, come with a 3-year extended warranty, and also have Windows Autopilot support out of the box. So really making that business setup experience as easy as possible. And then we've also been building up our infrastructure around business support. So we've been growing our customer success team as well as our support team to make sure that when businesses do pick up those products, they have just an incredibly smooth and seamless experience. And so those products, of course, those business configurations are also available today for pre-order and shipping in August. And then one other thing, just going back to Linux users that we've done is there is one other piece of feedback that we very consistently have gotten from Linux users over the last few years, which is that they don't want to see the Windows key on their keyboard, which is totally understandable. We get that. And so we have introduced a version of the English keyboard, the International English keyboard, that has a super key instead of a Windows key, just like we've done recently on Framework Laptop 16. And so really trying to build the perfect laptop, continue to refine it year over year for really everyone who's using it, but especially this year focused on making it simple and accessible, making an awesome display, making an awesome webcam, making the configurations make sense for businesses, making it ideal for Linux users, and continue to make this product better as we go. The whole team at Framework that worked on this product is just incredibly excited to get this out to you. Everyone was just super passionate about perfecting this product year over year, and really, I think we're getting there. We're pretty close to perfect on this thing, and so we really can't wait to see what you think of it.